Today is that day. The Sony FX5 has arrived, and our jaws are on the floor and blows our mind. Despite not currently having its launch price, nor Sony's permission to tear off the cover stickers, which is very strange, we are stoked to produce the best review we can in very limited time given. Sony did not pay us, and our opinion is entirely on our own. With that said, let's dive into our comprehensive review of the Sony FX5. Early online rumors suggested the FX5 would use the A9III's global shutter sensor, but in reality it houses a brand new 16 megapixel full-frame stacked sensor. Sony has continued its low megapixel sensor design from the A7S Mark III and FX3, adding only 4 million pixels this time. When you look at this graphic, here's the size of individual pixels on different cameras, such as the iPhone, the Pocket 4, and the Sony A7R Mark VI. And this is the FX5's pixel size. This design brings unbelievable low-light video performance. With some compromise in photography, the pixel count is way too low. And Sony understands this too, so they have removed the shutter mechanism and all the photography functions, making it a fully video-focused camera. Besides not having a shutter, it also doesn't have a much coveted internal ND system. I would have liked a lot more if it did, but now it's still a mirrorless camera, albeit one with extremely high video capabilities. Besides the large pixel, it also features triple base ISO at 800, 4000, and 12800. The camera produces similar signal-to-noise ratio at each level, which means clean images in almost all scenarios. This also makes it easier to use than the FX3 with fast spread dual base ISO at 800 and 12800. We thought the FX3 with its larger pixels would certainly mean the best option for night shooting, but sensor technology has evolved. After the testing, we can certainly say Sony is clearly set on making FX5 the new low-light king. The FX5 does not have a global shutter, so it still shows some rolling shutter. When shooting 5K 60p, its readout speed is around 9 milliseconds. It's an excellent result. It's one of the best rolling shutter we have ever tested. At this point, when you piece together all the features of this brand new camera, the FX5, it has really low megapixel count, the new processor, the super fast readout, and high-speed recording medium. You'll likely figure out it's really a beast for high frame rate shooting. The FX5 can shoot 5K at 120 FPS and 4K and 240 FPS internally. The latter isn't yet enabled under the current firmware, but we'll show you some sample footage at 5K 120 FPS. And apart from that, Sony finally offers open gate shooting on this camera, allowing you to use all the pixels at 5K 120 FPS. Some mirrorless cameras from other brands do offer 6K or 7K open gate shooting, with frame rate mostly capped at 30p. Even the most video-focused Panasonic model could only go up to 6K at 60p, but Sony, which never offered open gate shooting in consumer models, now gives us bombshell of 5K 120p open gate and packs it into such a small body. The 3:2 aspect ratio makes it easy for multi-platform delivery and also perfect for shooting with anamorphic lenses to produce oval bokeh and horizontal lens flares. Most importantly, this format allows you to film up to 4x slow motion with no crop, and the image quality is the same as 5K 60p. That means you can film in this spec in almost any scenes, including low light, with almost no image quality loss. Though you cannot record audio in high frame rate shooting, it's a little bit of a shame, this is still the most impressive recording specs I've ever seen on any mirrorless cameras. With that said, the 5K full-frame image from the FX5 isn't really super sharp. In fact, it's quite close to the FX3's oversampled 4.2K image. Many people are curious about its Super 35 mode, which gives a longer focal length and allows the use of more affordable APS-C lenses. But unfortunately, in this mode, the FX5 only shoots 3.2K oversampled 1080p videos, whereas the A7 Mark V shoots 4K in Super 35 mode. So if you are really after sharpness, the A7 Mark V with its 7K oversampled video is clearly a better choice. According to Sony's official marketing, the FX5 is rated with 15 stops of dynamic range. Our test shows roughly around 13 usable stops. Looking at the image, the FX5 shows very natural transition from highlight to shadows, and it's overall really similar to the dynamic range in the FX3. Besides that, the low light capabilities and the triple base ISO, the FX5 sensors still have another trick, the DGO. Dual gain output. We first saw this tech in Panasonic cameras. Simply put, turning on DGO makes the FX5 use cleaner image in both daytime and the low light shooting, and expands the dynamic range about 1.5 stops, which is a significant boost. However, DGO is not available for higher frame rate shooting, and it's limited its highest ISO at 6400. The readout speed increases to 18 milliseconds in this mode, so you only use it in challenging lighting conditions. What the heat praise on the FX5 is that's all it has to offer. There's one thing more that's so important, it records RAW video internally, which is the first ever for Sony mirrorless cameras. The format is Sony's proprietary XOCN with 16-bit color. It's traditionally reserved for Sony's top-end cinema cameras like the Burano or Venice. But now on the FX5, the XOCN allows you to correct footage with all kinds of mistakes. Skew a color temperature, no problem, just drag the slider. Underexposed, drag a slider in DaVinci Resolve. The color tone is off, drag a slider. It allows catastrophic error made in shooting to be salvaged in post, as long as the footage is in focus. Shooting RAW is really easy than other models. You only need to choose the proper base ISO, nail the focus, adjust the aperture, and hit record. It offers a completely different level of flexibility from H.264 or 265 videos. You can adjust almost everything in the highlight and shadows, adding film simulation or apply color space transforming, anything you want with XOCN. It almost has no flaws. No need for proxy workflows, no need for extra processing, just hard drive space. Oh, hard drive space. That's one drawback. The XOCN has long been a professional format used by larger crews with no concern in storage cost. So even the smallest XOCN files, when filming at 5K 60 FPS for an hour, would require around 700 GB of storage. That's hard to bear for individual creators. The dual CFA card slot on the FX5 is quite nice and with compatible SD cards, but whichever medium you choose, you will still bump into upgrading your memory cards, portable hard disk, storage arrays, which will be quite costly. And Sony understands this too. If they want to offer RAW for indie creators, RAW recording must be compressed. So the XOCN menu on the FX5 offers two new options, the C1 and C2. We will skip the technical details and give you the conclusion. They are both raw recording, they are both 16-bit. The image quality is undistinguishable from the SoC and LT. Playback is smooth and the data rate is close to the Sony's XVC-SI. At this point, you can figure out the FX5 has cleared all the hurdles for raw shooting. And I think I have never seen a camera do that, apart from Red cameras. In a world filled with AI-generated content, this allows video maker or the people who actually love shooting in reality a better way to record the moments in the real world. The FX5 offers many recording options, arguably too many, so we have made a spec chart for you to reference. If we had to make a recommendation, shooting in 5K oversampled 4K 60p in XVC would be a cost-efficient option. I have to point out that shooting XOCN and XVC together will lead to a difficult user experience. When shooting OpenGate, you are limited to only the larger XOCN files and not the more efficient 10-bit XVC codec under the current firmware. And when you switch between XOCN and XVC, the camera automatically restarts. It's very annoying. You cannot play back footage from both codec as well, or even footage of different frame rates, because they are saved in different folders with different naming structures. This increases the risk of confusing or misplacing files. I really hope Sony will improve their recording and file management in the future. With all that being said, the FX5 is still really impressive since it's such a small form factor. It's really almost the same size as FX3, except a bit thicker and heavier with more comfortable grip. And when we look closer, you will kind of realize it's a different body compared to the FX3. There's so much more changes on this camera. The biggest exterior change from the FX3 to the FX5 is this back spring. Sony finally abandoned the old one and adopted a new 3.5-inch 16:9 2.7 million dot 4-way tilt and flip screen. It's a very long sentence to say. The only gripe I have is the black borders are still quite big. It's especially visible on both sides when shooting OpenGate. Turning off info display does enlarge the preview image, but I still feel underwhelmed, especially after seeing the beautiful display on the Nikon ZR. On the other hand, the FX5's body does have many practical functions. On the left side, it offers a full-size HDMI port, dual USB-C port, mic and headphone jack, and a new Ethernet port, which would come in very handy when we film and streaming shows. Sony has also made a USB-C to timecode adapter in the camera kit. It really has all the bases covered and no complaints there. Moreover, the camera now has a 2/4-inch thread on the bottom, so your quick release plate will never get loosened again. This allows you to confidently use the FX5 without a cage or anything to add on it. And when looking closely at the top of the body, you will see a very small cover with a special interface underneath. It connects to a viewfinder. This is exclusively for FX5 right now. The brightness and refresh rate are really high and can tilt up to allow various shooting angles. You can also use it as an extra support to help stabilize your footage. The new body design is all perfect. The new larger screen leaves no space for handy 4-way dial and therefore less customizable buttons. You can only adjust back with these 2 dials, and they cannot be remapped to adjust shutter speed. Though the top wheel can be pressed down like on the Sony Burano, making adjustments still feels somewhat hindered. To offset the difficulty in parameter adjustment, Sony has equipped the FX5 with the same menu layout as their high-end Cine Alta cameras. It offers many adjustments and customizable specs. For exposure assist alone, there's waveform, vector scope, and even forced color. which we have never seen on Sony cameras. But honestly, I'm not really liking this menu. It has far too many layers. A short tap and long press leads to different submenus. Pressing home and user also brings up different menus. Some options can be selected on the touchscreen, some cannot. Its operation is totally different from past Sony Alpha cameras. So if you're a first-time user, you will face a really steep learning curve. It will take days of learning and adapting to get used to the operational feedbacks. Besides the menus, the FX5 has inherited the color science from the Sony Venice, which is completely different from their mirrorless models. It's really different. With all these features, plus arguably the most mature lens ecosystem, which is the E-mount, you can almost attach any lens you will need to capture shots from rare and creative angles.
It's just the beginning.
Sony's autofocus has always been excellent. Thanks to the Bion's XR2 processor, the FX5's autofocus is among the best of cinema cameras. It also has multiple AI subject recognition modes, and it can lock onto humans and most animals with little risk of losing focus. But our hands-on experience shows its autofocus is not as refined as its mirrorless siblings. It can focus, sure, but it's just less snappy when trying to lock onto smaller subjects such as the eyes, and is more likely to focus hunt. And you can only choose people, animals, and birds in subject recognition mode, not cars, airplanes, or trains. It's very strange for the mirrorless camera to actually having better performance than the cinema cameras. I hope Sony will update this in the future. I did not expect Sony to massively improve image stabilization on the FX5, but they did. It now has up to 8.5 stops IBIS at center frame, while the FX3 only has 5.5 stops. In actual use, it feels really similar to turning on active stabilization on earlier Sony cameras. Small handheld movements are very stable, but if you're handheld and walking, you still need to turn on dynamic active mode to get a relatively stable image. And when using a wide-angle lens for vlogging, the IBIS causes edge warping as well. It doesn't fix that. So it's worth noting Sony now offers a service that allows you to send in your FX5 and remove the IBIS mechanism to completely prevent image distortion caused by the sensor resonance when mounted on a drone or any cars. This can be quite handy in some cases. Besides the new IBIS system, the FX5 now also comes with a new cooling fan. We tested it in all kinds of shooting conditions, and they never overheated, period. The camera now uses a new NPSA 100 battery, which at almost $120 each is a highway robbery. It's way too expensive. To be fair, it's far more capable than old FZ100, with a capacity increases of 4.48 Wh, now standing at a total of 20.9 Wh. In our test, we recorded OpenGate 5K 60p video in XOCN to fill up a 1TB CFA card in 1 hour and 14 minutes, and the battery still had 38% left. We then recorded a 16:9 4K 60p, which is oversampled from 5K in XAVC-SI format. The battery lasted 2.5 hours before dying. This is the best battery performance we have ever tested for camera of this size. And it also supports 23-watt fast charging. 2 batteries are enough to last through our full day of real-world shooting. Sony seems to have put all its new camera techs from the past few years in the FX5. The audio also gets major upgrades, and the camera now supports 32-bit flow audio recording. This means your audio will always never clip and has massive flexibility in post. The catch is, this feature is only available when this new XLR handle is attached. And the new unit does offer some additional functions and supports 3.5mm mic input, but it certainly isn't worth this much. And the worst part is the strange microphone mount design that does not allow most industry standard mic to be mounted. It's very annoying. I solved it by replacing with a 3D printed part with a shock absorbing mount. This makes it much easier to use. My favorite microphone is the small and light Sennheiser AT50, which records unbelievably good audio when paired with this handle. We are now coming to the conclusion on FX5. Those who love creating images will truly understand why this camera is just so exciting. I mean, you can feel it. And we have been waiting for something like this for years. There's so much to say about the FX5 with very few downsides. It is currently the closest to a perfect camera for me, and perhaps the biggest drawback is the lack of internal ND filters. I honestly wouldn't mind a thicker body that fits an internal ND. Sony has told us that the FX5 is the first product in the second phase of their imaging device roadmap, and there are more capable models to come in the next few years. That is fantastic news that finally the imaging industry is getting more interesting, and we do wonder, when will the next groundbreaking camera arrive? If you like this review, please give us a like and a sub and share it with your friends. We spent a lot of effort making it. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll be sure to see you next time.